It's hard to overstate the impact of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Since its launch in spring 2015, the fandom has grown, Netflix has adapted the books for streaming, and developer CD Projekt Red has released a bunch of additional content. Let's take a look at all of that. Here's everything added to The Witcher 3 since launch. The Witcher 3 was no stranger to day one patches, and it's important to remember all the little fixes that came before the bigger content was added. Players who started on day one saw tons of improvements in stability and performance on both PC and console, plus those all-important bug fixes. The summer after launch, CDPR also added item stashes across the map to help players lighten their load while exploring, as well as new movement options for Geralt for that same exploration. All of that laid the groundwork for the more fun stuff. Speaking of, the weeks following The Witcher 3's launch were loaded with 16 free DLCs that gave players some extra stuff to play around with. It started with a new set of beard options and hairstyles for Geralt at the barbershops, followed by a new contract to track down some missing miners in Skellige. May 2015 concluded with an alternate costume for Geralt's special friend Yennefer. On June 3rd, the game got Temerian and Nilfgaardian armor sets, which could be purchased from White Orchard and Crow's Perch, respectively. 3 elite crossbows were also put up for sale at some other merchants. June 9th was a good day for card game fans, as a new neutral Ballad Heroes set was added to Gwent. These new cards showed characters from Dandelion's ballads, which was a nice touch. June was jam-packed with these free DLCs. A free quest called Fool's Gold took Geralt to a village full of pigs, Triss got her own alternative costume, and a new scavenger hunt sent players after some wolf school gear, which was requested by fans since there weren't any looks from Geralt's own school at the game's launch. Before June ended, we also got a new combat contract in Skellige, plus a Skellige armor set to represent the snowy region. July started with another new quest called Where the Cat and Wolf Play, and Ciri finally got her own alternative costume later in the month. July also included a batch of new finisher animations to make Geralt's takedowns more exciting. Finally, Witcher 3 got a new game plus in mid-August. Anyone looking to replay the game could do that while keeping all their gold, abilities, and a lot of their skills and stashed items too. A second playthrough scaled up the difficulty levels, so Geralt couldn't just walk all over his enemies the second time around. In October 2015, CDPR laid the final groundwork for The Witcher 3's epic expansions. After a final stability pass and a giant batch of bug fixes, the game got even bigger with Hearts of Stone. In fact, the literal game map got bigger, pushing further north into No Man's Land and adding the famed city of Oxenfurt. That's where the largest academy in the whole kingdom is found, the very same one that Dandelion attended. Shani, another lady friend of Geralt's, studied medicine at the same place, and she returns from the first game here, tagging along for an infamous Weekend at Bernie's style quest called Dead Man's Party. Hearts of Stone also introduced Gaunter O'Dim, aka the Man of Glass. You won't find this trickster in the original Witcher books, but he sent Geralt on his initial adventure in the expansion. To help with this mission, the game's level cap increased to 70, and Geralt got some extra help from new rune words and glyph words. These special enchantments could add new perks to weapons and armor, and those definitely came in handy for a bunch of new main quests, side quests, contracts, and treasure hunts. In spring 2016, The Witcher 3 got a second expansion, Blood and Wine, which was even bigger than Hearts of Stone, introducing an entirely new map. Blood and Wine sent Geralt to Toussaint, a totally different country that sat southeast of the main game's kingdom. If the level cap of 70 wasn't enough, this expansion took it all the way to 100. That's pretty handy when you've got to go up against a bunch of powered-up vampires. Toussaint also had a totally different political and military system, but it was still crammed full of new quests, characters, and locations that looked very different from anything we'd seen before. Its lush vineyards were under attack by new monsters and other villains, but the addition of mutations let Geralt fight back with some new powers. This all-new skill tree had 12 special powers, including the ability to cast stronger magic, deal more damage, and even escape death itself. Blood and Wine was a massive expansion, with dozens of new quests that could take between 30 and 40 hours to complete. There's a reason Blood and Wine tends to rank very highly on the list of best video game expansions. For its first few years, The Witcher 3 was only available on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. That changed in October 2019 when the game finally came to Nintendo Switch. Games of this scale weren't really coming to Switch as often at the time, or at least not without some major compromises. The team at Tin Giant Studios ended up overhauling CDPR's custom game engine to pull off this port, and the result was a game with slightly less pretty graphics, but with the exact same gameplay you could get on all the other platforms. It was really impressive, especially when you consider that it was the complete edition, meaning it included all of the previous DLC we talked about. As of the time of this video, there is no native Switch 2 version of the game, but the general consensus is that this version runs great as is on the newer hardware. Speaking of which, The Witcher 3's most recent update, as of the time of this video, came a few years later in December 2022. Patch 4.00 was the game's next-gen update, launching alongside native PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S and X versions of the game. In fact, every platform got a host of improvements, including ray tracing, cross-progression, accessibility options, improved spellcasting for Geralt signs, and a photo mode. PC players could also crank their settings to Ultra Plus, which made the game look even better. On top of all that, the next-gen update added content inspired by the Netflix show, which had been running for a few seasons by that point. This included a new quest, plus some alternative looks for Dandelion and the Nilfgaardian armor. Much more than a new coat of paint, the next-gen update brought a lot of players back to the game after a few years off. The last thing we'll talk about wasn't added to The Witcher 3 specifically, but it did open up a whole new world of content for the game. Spring 2024 saw the release of The Witcher 3 Red Kit, an official modding tool that let players customize every aspect of the game. In fact, CDPR pitched it as giving players access to all the same tools they used to make the game in the first place. Even more impressive, cross-platform mod support is on the way, letting even console players experience the community-created content. Right now, that's slated for sometime in 2026. And that's the full list of everything added to The Witcher 3 since launch. For now. As of the time of this video, there are a bunch of rumors about a third expansion for the game, and development on The Witcher 4 is well underway. That's the start of a new saga that'll focus on Ciri, and it's moving the franchise to Unreal Engine 5. Surprise DLC could be a great way to bridge the gap between Witcher 3 and 4, and I would be shocked if Geralt doesn't play a prominent role in the potential story. We're expecting big things from CD Projekt Red, and we're going to hear more in the future no matter what, so keep it locked at IGN for all the latest on the Witcher franchise.